Hello there, and welcome to the show. We can all get caught up in our heads sometimes, whether it's for lack of motivation, self-doubt, or just too much stress. These things can all stop us from achieving our goals in life. The people I'm about to talk to, however, have overcome these little plights, pushed on, and through sheer will, have achieved incredible things. Now let's see if they can teach us how to stay strong, motivated, and on top of things. I'm Louis Maxwell, and this is Lessons with Louis. I'm joined here this morning by two people with incredible stories of survival. They've both overcome brutal hardships and are now thriving artists in their respective fields. It's my pleasure to welcome David Gilna and Steve Farrell to our show. Guys, thanks so much for coming on today.
Great to be here, Louis.
Thanks for having us on the show, buddy.
Yeah, how are you feeling today?
Amazing.
So today, the topic I really wanted to cover was self-belief.
Sure.
How important is self-belief to you?
Self-belief for me, well, all the way through my career. And at the moment, I'm a visual artist, but I'm also a motivational speaker, and I coach people as well, and I'm a podcast host. So all the way through, from childhood, I have had to learn to believe in myself, because I think it is something that we can learn. It's a learned habit, if you will. And self-belief is incredibly important. What we believe about ourselves, about our lives, is really what we see reflected in our lives. I mean, we can want all we want, but we don't get or we don't manifest what we want in our lives. We manifest what we believe. So what we believe is what we see around us. So really important from my point of view.
And David, how do you feel about it?
You have to be the driving force, okay? As like what Stephen says, I like to dream big, but also I'll say what my vision is or what my goal is. And people say that, oh, don't say that, you know, it might not work out for you, but if I think like that, it won't work out for me. So if I think that the project won't get picked up or won't get commissioned, I won't get commissioned. But I have to say it, I have to believe it, and I have to put it out there. Because if I don't put it out there, what's the point?
And what techniques can you use to put it into force?
There's a few different techniques. I mean, when I'm talking to people, and it depends on what they present with, if I'm working with someone on a one-to-one basis, maybe, I can work on goal setting. I think goal setting is incredibly important, and the science is definitely there backing up. The people who set their goals are much more likely to achieve their goals or have a successful life or future. So I would talk to them about setting their goals, writing them down, and working towards those goals. Self-belief as well can be tied in with negative self-talk. A lot of us have that, or at least in some parts. Some people have a lot more than others. So it's sourcing where that negative self-talk is coming from and turning it off. So a great technique for that would be if you can. So when I tell someone to set a goal and they set something really huge, the thought immediately after that goal could be a negative thought. So if they listen to the thought, and it might be the voice of someone they know really well, it might be their own voice. So if we change the voice, to Mickey Mouse's voice, or we change it to Donald Duck's voice, or if we change it like, you know, when you use a CD, back in the past we used to have CDs.
I don't know if I remember that day.
Well, if you scratch a CD, it's not going to play the song. So if you think about it like that, it changes the voice. So that is one tool or one technique that you can use to change that negative self-talk. And the more we do it, it doesn't happen overnight. It's not like a switch that you switch on or off. It can take a bit of time to do it. But it's like anything worthwhile takes time. So if we acknowledge it and start working towards turning off the negative self-talk, we can certainly start having more positive beliefs in ourselves and more positive self-belief.
That's really good advice. And David, have you experienced anything in your life that's made you say, I'm going to go and grab it? Has any significant event occurred that's just made you change everything and go for it?
Well, yeah, I was hit by lightning. I was paralyzed. I was in a coma, and then I woke up and I was like, okay, life is short. So I realized what happened to me was that I realized that life can be taken away from you. So I was quite young, and I realized that this creative team that made this happen today, okay, you're nothing without a creative team. This wouldn't be possible today with everybody behind the camera, in front of the camera. But what I realized that if I want something, I have to make it happen now, because there was a moment in my life that my life was technically over. I died for, I think, 4 minutes. I left this place, what we call Earth, and I had to come back and reevaluate life, my belief system, what I wanted in life, because it was taken from me.
That's amazing. That's such a great story. Like, I'm sure we could chat all day, just the three of us. But it's time to introduce another voice to our table. My next guest is another incredible achiever who hasn't let her life get her down. She's an entrepreneur, a dancer, and has the hardest job of all, a mother. Let's meet Hannah.
Hi guys, my name is Hannah May Jane and you're here in my house today. I'm a dancer and a dance teacher and I am a full-time mom. I love to be a motivational speaker and I love to try and inspire people. I've been through a fair few different scenarios in my life which I love to speak to people about and help them if they're going through them as well. We have an event company called Euphoria Events Limited and we were hired to go to Dundalk to do some fire breathing at a nightclub and then to dance at a teen disco, which was brilliant. So yeah, we kind of do that on the side, blow a little bit of fire, dance on the stage. For me, I find it so important to believe in yourself because for so many years I didn't believe in myself. A positive frame of mind is just something that gets stuff happening, basically. It's so important to believe in yourself. I think if you don't have it, it's always going to hold you back. You know, you're never going to get as far as you should. He's smelling the perfume.
Hannah, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
How are you feeling today?
I'm good, always good.
And could you tell us how important is self-belief in your life?
Well, for me, if I didn't believe in myself, my fear would be that my kids wouldn't believe in themselves. And it's something that I try and tell them all the time to just, you know, just to keep believing, because if you don't believe, it might not happen. And Layla has started to like audition for little plays and, you know, drama things here, there and everywhere. And, you know, I keep saying to her, you know, if you don't get it this time, just keep believing and you might get it the next time. You know, so it's like literally every day we're kind of trying our best to infuse into all of them that if you just keep believing, you know, positive things will happen. So.
And when something negative happens to you, how do you deal with it and get back up?
Like, I'm not going to lie, like, it is tough, you know, and you do have, like, moments of, like, oh, God, why is this happening to me? But I have this kind of thing that I do where I just take a few deep breaths. It's the same as, like, when my middle son, Coda, he likes to go into fits every now and again, and I always say, take your deep breaths and then come back to me. So that's a huge thing that we do, is just take our deep breaths. Or even for me, I'll go for a walk with them and we'll either go to the beach or the park or somewhere, because I love the sound of the waves, I love the sound of the wind, I love just nature altogether. Really helps me. I know it sounds very airy-fairy, but it really does help me, and it kind of makes me reevaluate what has happened in the day. And at the end of the day, I always say, like, okay, look, your leg didn't fall off, you know, you're not, you know, homeless again. You know, you have your home, you have your food on the table, and this is only a small little hiccup in the road, and, you know, we can get through it. And if other people can get through it, we can get through it too. So that's kind of what I do.
And guys, how do you stay grounded when it all gets too much and there's so much on your to-do list? How do you just take a minute?
And it is important to take a minute. And I find myself now, because of my most recent difficulty with cancer, being diagnosed in 2017, September 11th, with metastatic melanoma, which is stage 3 cancer, really, really deadly and high reoccurrence rate. So I now feel like I have this intense drive to achieve all of these things that I had possibly been putting off, but I also need to realize that I could make myself sick by working so much and taking it all on board. So I need to focus on what really I want to achieve, and the other things I need to park and rest and take time to myself as well. It's really important.
And David, do you do anything like meditation or anything?
Yeah, meditation actually. A woman called Alison Canavan, she brought meditation into my life. Sound healing. At first I thought it was a load of crap, but it was just this woman, she's wearing these white robes and she has all these bowls around. I was like, what is this? And then all of a sudden when she started to play the bowls, my mind
David,
just...
I'm sorry, we're going to have to go to a quick break now.
No
But
problem.
don't go anywhere.
It's sounding wonderful. I'm right there with you.
Because we'll be back with one more wonderful guest and a live performance of our new single. After the break, we'll have KK Lewis. See you in a bit. Welcome back to Lessons with Louis. My next guest is a young, up-and-coming Dublin musician. You may have seen her on Grafton Street. Here she is today, performing Flowers.
My name is KK Lewis. I've been busking for around a month and a half now. I've always wanted to be a singer, and I stopped for a while because I was afraid of what people thought. And then busking seemed like the best way to make that dream happen. It wasn't like one day I just was like, I don't care what people think anymore. It was a long journey of just disconnecting myself from people who made me feel self-conscious and insecure. And eventually, here I am, busking on Grafton Street, in front of lots of people.
You plant flowers in my heart, and then you decide to dart and you leave me to bury these flowers all alone. As they strangle my body's battery, till my lungs they start feeling heavy. Very stalks now, but upon that perishing, you come back and flying in.
My life has changed so much ever since I stopped caring what people think. I've made better friends. I've gotten places. Like if I had the mindset I have now a year ago, I'd probably be way further than I am now. But it's all a journey.
Heads until they have no thoughts. Whoa. You plant flowers in my heart, and then you decide to dart and you leave me to bury these flowers all alone. As they strangle my body's battery, till my lungs they start feeling heavy. Their stalks now, but upon that perishing, you come back and flying in. You scatter the seeds you had before. So take your flowers and cut their stalks and rip their heads until they have no thoughts. Whoa. Oh, do you leave me to bear these flowers all alone in my lonely hours? Well, I'm too tired. Do you leave me to bear these flowers all alone in my lonely hours? Well, you're a coward. You play me like a game, and damn, it's such a shame. You always win. But it's time that you man up now and sort all your shit out. Let me go. So take your flowers and cut their stalks and rip their heads until they have no thoughts. Whoa. Oh, do you leave me to bear these flowers all alone in my lonely hours? Well, I'm too tired. Do you leave me to bear these flowers all alone in my lonely hours? Well, you're a coward. Do you leave me to bear these flowers all alone in my lonely hours? I'm just too tired. Yeah.
An absolutely wonderful performance. Thank you so much, KK. One more time, that was KK Lewis performing her new single, Flowers. We're going to go to a quick break now, but make sure you don't go anywhere because we'll be right back with KK for a chat. Welcome to the panel. How are you today?
Great, Louis.
I'd like
Thanks
to
for
thank you
having
again.
me.
That was such a lovely performance.
Thank you very much.
And I'd like to ask, how important is self-belief for you?
Very important. Well, if I didn't have any self-belief, I wouldn't be able to do music. And especially in the music industry, you need a lot of self-belief because people try to knock you down a lot.
I think in all your respective industries, I feel like people try to get you down a lot and it's very competitive. How do you guys deal with the competitiveness of it all?
I'll go second because I'm taking over the whole panel and talking for too long. So,
David, how do you feel about that?
Water off a duck's back. Surround yourself with the right creative people and just don't care what people think.
What about you, Hannah?
I think it's kind of a reflection on themselves. It's just, I just feel it could be somebody having a bad day, and I just kind of trying to say to myself, I feel sorry for them and just leave them be, you know, rather than fighting fire with fire. It's just going to make a bigger fire. So.
And have any of you received any major negativity from following your passion?
look, I think it's part of the process, and it's how we deal with that and how we manage it. And the only thing we have full control over is how we think and how we feel. So it's really our responsibility to make sure that we are thinking and feeling whatever, self-belief, for instance, that we feel that we're worthy. Worthiness is an issue that comes up a lot of times when I'm dealing with people. So we have that responsibility. Yes, people are going to come into our lives that are going to be negative. Yes, they're going to try to bring us down. Yes, the only time we're going to come down is if we allow them to bring us down. So we need to work on ourselves and believe in ourselves and work towards our goals and our dreams and ignore negative self or other negative people.
What about you, David? You laughed, you chuckled.
It's part and part with the industry, do you get me? Just as Stephen says, you don't let it affect you. You stay on your lane. And that's what it's about. Because if you let that side in, man, you're not going to achieve anything.
One life we get. We get one life. Don't get to the end of your road, to your deathbed, and have a regret because of what other people said you could or couldn't do. You have to believe in yourself.
And do any of you incorporate this negativity into your work?
Yeah, well, I know now if somebody ever says something negative to me, I'll post something and I put it out there for everybody, but I'm actually really speaking to myself. I just feel like if I write it down, you know, like stay strong today, you can do this, keep fighting. And I'm putting it out there because I know somebody will look at it and say, oh God, I really needed that today. But I'm also doing it for myself, you know.
So guys, the show's almost finished. I just want to give you a chance to let everyone know your platform. So where can we find you, Steve?
I have two websites, stephenmannionfarrell.com and stephenfarrell.ie. I've got Stephen_Farrell11 for my Instagram. I've got a Twitter account. I'm on LinkedIn. I have 3 or 4 Facebooks. Stephen Farrell is the general one you get me on.
Brilliant. And Irish Playwright?
Irish Player on Twitter and Instagram, and send me pigeons because I like pigeons.
And
I'm Hannah May Jane on Instagram, and hannahmayjane.com is my website.
And KK, we were a bit confused about yours earlier. It's
Yes, we were
underscore.
looking for you.
It's _KK Lewis.
Guys, thanks so much. That's all we have time for. See you next week on Lessons with Louis. Goodbye.